What's up, everybody? It's from the movie X Kicks, and this is going to be the review of Freaky coming up right after this. Now, it's actually good to go to a movie theater and to see a really good movie for once. Kind of with this whole pandemic going, the movies have a lot of them have shut down until things are kind of cleared up. And so we really haven't had a chance to really go see, like, I really haven't had a good chance to go see really a good movie I really enjoyed at the theaters really anytime since the pandemic first started. So this is like the first movie that I actually really enjoyed and I thought was very hilarious. I wish they would have brought the movie on Halloween. I thought it was supposed to come out traditionally on Halloween, but they pushed it back until November 14th. I just saw a sneak preview of it last week. Now the movie is called Freaky, as you're aware. The premise of the movie is fairly simple. The character Vince Vaughn is the main character, and he plays a serial killer called the Blissfit Killer. And he basically is a serial killer who mostly targets anyone, but mostly teenagers, and throughout the most of his killings. And he targets one girl. Her name is Millie. She's a senior at high school. And in the midst of him trying to kill her, he stabs her with an Aztec dagger, and their bodies end up switching. And the next day, he is in this little girl's body, and this little girl is in this grown man's body. But the catch is she has 24 hours to find the serial killer, Vince Vaughn's character, in order to switch back to her body, or else she'll be stuck that way forever. Now, I have to say, this was like I said at the beginning, this was a really, really good movie. And I knew it was a couple things about the movie. Like when I watched the movie, like when I first saw the trailer, I was kind of like, damn, this style looks so familiar. And it comes from the director that did Happy Death Day. And if you haven't seen Happy Death Day is a hilarious movie. It's basically Groundhog's Day on crack. The premise of Happy Death Day is a woman. This girl's in high school. No, this girl's in college, and she keeps waking up every day until she finds out who killed her. And all the way she keeps dying, like she'll try to avoid certain ways, and she'll keep dying all these different ways until she finds out who killed her. And that's kind of like what they did with this premise, only they reverse, obviously, with the girl going to the guy's body and the guy's going to the girl's body. And I love that premise of it, because the thing that I loved about this movie is that people like to me, like Vince Vaughn, Kevin Hart, they're kind of like all these characters that kind of always play the same role. Owen Wilson, and to me, this was a different look for him, because he was actually like a grown man, and he was, when they switched, the girl was in his body, and he had to act like a girl, and it was just so funny. Like, I'm talking about, like, could you imagine a grown man being acting like a little girl in this like 6'5" frame body of his, and he's supposed to be like a strong serial killer, and it was just so funny, like the ways he kind of reacted, like his friends trying to say that, no, I'm really Millie. And he's like doing like little cheers, and at the same time he's trying to hide from the police that are trying to get him. But it's hard being a 6'5" guy, and then you're trying to find your original self, this girl who basically becomes a serial killer now that the bodies are switched. And that's another thing that I loved about it. To me, it kind of showed like how messed up serial killers are, because this thing, if you switch in a totally different person's body, like a whole other gender, you would think like they would be losing their mind. The thing that I loved about this movie is that instead of going crazy, it took him a while to kind of get acclimated, but he just turned it on the girl's body. Like, he was going around just still trying to kill people, and then he actually tried to use more feminine ways. Like, that's how you know, like, someone is really psychotic. Like, they got their bodies transferred into a different female, and they still serial killer. They still want to kill people. Instead of this way, they're using her feminine charms to kill people, instead of when you're a man, a strong man. He would basically use his strength and his size to basically kill people. But now, since he's not as strong, he has to use different other ways and varieties of killing people, which to me just kind of makes a better element to the movie. It kind of makes the movie more funnier, because there's a comedy, and it's a dark comedy at that. But there was a scene in the movie that just literally, I died out laughing. It was when Vince Vaughn's character was a girl, and he was basically hanging out with a couple guys, and they were talking about throwing a party, and they were like, "Yeah, that's a real good idea." And the guy like grabs her ass, and he bends over and says, "Come here." He goes, "Your touch makes my pussy as dry as sandpaper," and I laughed so hard. I mean, but just to get that, just to get in a new woman's body and still have the nerve to say that to a guy, it to me, like, this movie was, I loved it. Like, everything about this movie, and it was the thing I loved about the movie. It was actually a good, well paced movie, and it was pretty long. It was almost 2 hours. So like I said, I don't like these short movies. I like a 2 hour plus ish movie, especially like movies like this where the killings are over the top, outlandish. Especially if you've seen Happy Death Day, you'll know what I'm talking about. Kind of how the different killings are. They're kind of the director took the exact same spin, except this and this, except repeating it. It just made all new killings. So, but no, the only negative that I will say is the ending of the movie was very kind of like, it was a good ending, but it confused me because it had one sense where it was like, okay, this is the ending, and I was like, all right, well, that's cool. And then after that, they had another part that was another ending when you thought it ended this way, and then it goes another way, and both endings were fine, but it's like they only needed one ending and they added two, and I was kind of confused on. I don't want to give it away, but I was kind of confused on how they had two endings when there was really both of them. One of them would have just been fine. So that's the thing that kind of confused me. But besides that, all in all, a great movie, a funny movie. I think it's a good movie to go see in the theaters and go support your local theaters. Because as we do know, in this time, a lot of people aren't going to the movies. If you do go to the movies, wear your mask, social distance. A lot of the seats are blocked off anyway. But I would highly suggest people go see this movie. It's very funny. If I had to score it, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Like I said, I actually had a chance. Do have a chance to go see it again on Monday, but I probably won't. But most definitely, when it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray, I have to buy this movie. It was hands down hilarious. If you guys like movie reviews, TV show reviews, sneaker reviews, think about subscribing to the channel. If you like what you saw, please give me a like. I highly appreciate that. And until next time, guys, Mr. Movie X is out. Holler at me later, and drop some comments to those. I know a lot of people have not seen this movie yet, but when you do get a chance to go see it, drop me some comments. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie. All right, guys.